Lesson 1. Essential Job Vocabulary. Welcome to Lesson 1 of the Business English course, Essential Job Vocabulary. Let's begin by answering the question, where do you work? This seems like a simple question, but there are many ways to answer it. I work at, I work in, I work for, or I work with. You're going to learn when to use each preposition. You can say, I work at or for, and then the name of the company. For example, I work at Espresso English, or I work for Nike. You can also use for if you work directly for a famous person. For example, I work for Tom Cruise. I'm his public relations manager. You can say, I work in a place. For example, I work in an office. I work in a school. I work in a factory. You can also say, I work in a city or country. I work in Paris. I work in France. You can say, I work in a department. For example, I work in the marketing department. I work in human resources. I work in sales. And you can say, I work in a general area or industry. For example, I work in finance. I work in medical research. I work in consulting. You can say, I work with, and then mention the things or people that are the objects of your day-to-day work. For example, I work with computers. I'm a teacher. I work with special needs children. If you want to add more details about your work, you can say, I'm responsible for, or I'm in charge of, or my job involves. For example, I'm responsible for updating the company website. I'm in charge of interviewing candidates for jobs. My job involves giving tours of the museum. Notice that after these phrases, we use the ing form of the verb. So let's review. I work at a company. I work for a company or a person. I work in a place, city, country, department, or general area or industry. And I work with people or things. In conversational English, the question, where do you work, is commonly phrased as, what do you do? Or, what do you do for a living? You can answer with one of the I work phrases we just learned, or you can say, I'm a, or an, and then your job title. For example, I'm a teacher. I'm an accountant. How do you answer this question if you don't have a job? You can say, I'm unemployed, or I'm between jobs at the moment. Here are some other reasons you might not have a job. I'm a student. I'm a stay-at-home mom or dad. If you work for yourself, you can say, I'm self-employed. If you have your own company, you can say, I own a small business, or, more specifically, I own a restaurant, or I own a graphic design company. Describing your job. Do you like your job? Here are some different ways to talk about how you feel about your work. My job is interesting or exciting. I find my work very rewarding. This means it satisfies you and makes you feel good. The work is quite challenging. Challenging can be a way to say it's difficult, but with a positive connotation. You enjoy the difficulty. My job is tough, tiring, or demanding. These words mean it's difficult with a negative connotation, and it makes you tired. The work is rather dull, boring, or repetitive. Dull is another way to say boring, and repetitive means you do the same type of task multiple times. There's not much variation.